Hello everyone, this is Phani Krishna. In this video, we are going to see how to host a simple website which is going to be a highly secure and highly scalable. So if you see this image, it will give you some idea about how the architecture should be and what all services we are going to use. See, here I will take an example called the cloudlearn.com website. If you want to host a simple website for yourself, which looks like a production ready, then these are the things which we have to use. So we are going to use a CloudFront service, S3 bucket for security, web application firewall, for accessibility, Route 53, and monitoring, alerting like observability, we are going to use a CloudWatch. First, I will give you the overview about how the flow is, and then we can talk about each and every service in detail. So here in this image, here is the user, right? The user is trying to access the website called the cloudlearn.com. Then what exactly is going to happen is the request will go to the Amazon Route 53, which is a kind of a DNS service. What exactly is it will search for the cloudlearn.com website. So the request will go to the appropriate hosted zone in which the records are available. So from the record, it will get where exactly the website is running, the address of the website, and it will start reaching or communicating with that particular website. And for the security reason, here we are using a firewall, which is Amazon Managed Service Web Application Firewall, WAF, in which there are some rules available which will prevent DDoS attacks, SQL injection attacks, and all kind of security things will be provided with the help of Web Application Firewall. And here we have a service called CloudFront, which is a content delivery network service. It has some advantage. I think if you are aware of CloudFront, what exactly it does, it will cache the website across the globe so that from anywhere the user is trying to get the web content, that content will be delivered from the nearest edge location so that to improve the performance of your website content delivery. So here we are going to use the CloudFront, and obviously we access the websites using HTTPS, right? Secure websites. And it requires an SSL certificate. Without an SSL certificate, you can't host any website using HTTPS. And to generate that SSL certificate, we are going to use AWS Certificate Manager, by using which we can get the free SSL certificate. But you must be the owner of the domain name called the Cloud Learn. Means you must register the cloudlearn.com website. It can be in the Amazon Route 53, or it can be somewhere else like GoDaddy, Big Rock, Namecheap, that doesn't matter. So using this certificate manager, you need to request, or I mean, you need to send a request, and AWS Certificate Manager will validate that you are the owner of, or you are the registered owner for that domain, and then they will generate SSL certificate. For myself, this website is registered outside of the AWS GoDaddy.com, but for, for this domain, I'm managing the DNS in the Amazon Route 53, means the hosted zone is created in Amazon Route 53. And whenever you're hosting a website, it requires some space to store all the website related pages. So here I'm going to use the S3 bucket to store the web pages. But whatever the website I'm going to host, that is going to be a single page website, which is index.html, a basic web page, right? And I'm going to create a two more buckets. This is the bucket one, this is bucket two, and this is bucket three. Why these buckets? So for the bucket 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the backup of my web pages in a different bucket, which is a optional. I will let you know why it is going to be the optional. And the third bucket, this is, I will use this S3 bucket to keep all the logs captured from the CloudFront service and the errors. Everything is going to be stored in this particular bucket. And for this monitoring and observability, I'm going to use the CloudWatch. In the CloudWatch service, I'm going to create a dashboard where I can observe how many errors are getting, how many people are unable to access the website, like a 4xx errors, like 403, 404, or some 500 errors. Everything I can monitor from CloudWatch, and I will create few alarms also. What are the alarms? Let us say in a given minute, the 404 errors, page not found errors, or whatever the 404 errors are more than 10 in a given minute, it will trigger an email alert. And that alerting system also we will see how to create, and that we are going to deploy in this video. And this I will divide into like 4 different sections, like all these things. So here, first, what we are going to do is let us go step by step to make it clear. First thing, overview, right? Just I gave you a brief overview. In this, okay, let me open a notepad. But anyways, I'm going to share the document and everything in the GitHub. I will share that GitHub repository link also. What exactly we are going to do? Just we are going to deploy a secure, scalable, static website. We are going to deploy a secure, scalable, and a static website. Static website means which doesn't have any server-side scripting, And for this, what all the services we are going to use are, the first one is the S3 bucket, I can say. What is the purpose of the S3 bucket? Like storing web pages securely. Securely is the most important one. Nobody should get modify my data and all. And then we are going to use a service called CloudFront, which is a content delivery network. Plus, we are having HTTPS website hosting and a caching. Caching means irrespective of where your website is running across the globe, whoever is far away from the actual location, right? They can get the content within no time. How Amazon will cache means temporarily store your website content across the globe in the edge locations. And obviously, for secure website hosting, we need HTTPS protocol, and the HTTPS requires SSL certificate, and that can be managed by using ACM service. SSL certificate can be generated using ACM. And then we need a Route 53. What is the purpose? It is like a domain hosting plus a DNS. Without having this Route 53, you can't access the websites with the name like google.com, yahoo.com, and all. Then for security, one more important thing is a WAF. It is for web security, which can prevent a DDoS attacks. Any kind of attempts will be monitored and declined or blocked by this WAF. Sorry, it's not WAG, it's a WAF, Web Application Firewall. And then just we are going to use the CloudWatch. This is for monitoring and observability, and something also for auditing, like logging purpose. And if you want, you can use the cloud trial service for auditing purposes, right? And to make this more secure on S3 bucket, right, what exactly we are going to do is we are going to enable S3 versioning. Why? Accidentally, if we modify some web pages, right, with the help of versioning, we can revert it. And we are going to use some lifecycle rules, especially on this logs bucket. this logs bucket. Why? Because logs are getting like there are hundreds and hundreds of log files available. And with the help of lifecycle rule, what I can do is by default, all the logs will be stored using a standard storage class. But I want to move those logs after 30 days into Glacier because the Glacier is the cheapest storage class. Because whenever the log file is more than 30 days older, we don't access it regularly. So I would like to move that into Glacier. It is like a kind of cost management. That is a kind of cost management, reducing the operational costs and all the things. And obviously, you can enable some best practices, right? These are the best practices like enabling versioning, creating a lifecycle rule so that objects can be managed with minimum charges and all. And also you can enable some logging and all because these is the closest real company deployment for static applications. It can be HTML website or React, Angular, right? Or if your organization wants to maintain some kind of a documentation websites, then this kind of approach is the best suitable approach. Now, coming to the architecture, what exactly is going to happen? The first thing, the user, let me show you. Let me open a MS Paint. How this architecture, first here there is a user, right? User types the website name as the cloudlearn.com. Then immediately here we have a DNS. It will go to DNS for lookup. It will get the address of the domain name. Then the request will be forwarded to the CloudFront. But here we have a web application firewall for web security. And this for this CloudFront is a content delivery network which will deliver the web content. But the content is available on our S3 bucket. So this is called as origin for the CloudFront. It will get the data from the S3 bucket and it will cache across the globe. And we are going to have another bucket, right? What is the another bucket purpose? It will keep all the logs generated while the users are accessing. This is the major architecture. Then we will have multiple things like we will have another S3 bucket, right? I will say a backup bucket where I will create a replication from bucket 1 to bucket 2. So whatever the web pages we uploaded to the bucket 1 will be automatically replicated to bucket 2. And whenever the data got deleted from the bucket 1, we can recover it. But what we have done, we enable versioning here so that if you delete accidentally, the data is available in the backend. So this part is going to be the optional. Okay. This part is going to be the optional. This DNS on Amazon, we have a service called Route 53. And for monitoring, logging, which is called as a monitoring and observability, we are going to use a service called CloudWatch. We are going to use a service called CloudWatch. So now we are going to deploy the static website a step by step. But don't worry, I'm going to upload this architecture diagram which I have displayed earlier, right? This one, along with the step-by-step procedure to deploy the static website into the GitHub. And those links are available in this description of this particular video. Okay, right. So now let me get into our AWS account. So here is my AWS account. First thing is we need to register a domain in Route 53. Already I own, but if you want to know how to register, let me show you. Like I will keep it simple. So here in this AWS console, just type a route of 53, right? Just navigate to that route 53 service. And on the left side, you can see something called registered domains. Click on this registered domains under domain section, and you can see there are no domains available, but my domains are registered outside of the AWS. And here you can click on registered domains. I will say abc.com. Click on, I mean, I want to register, but which is not available, which was already registered by someone. If it is available, just you can add, you can proceed, and you have to make the payment, and then the domain will be yours like this. abcclothing.net, select, proceed, and make the payment. And you can see that registered domain here. Then what you have to do on the left side itself, you need to create a hosted zone for your domain. How to do that? On the left side, here, click on hosted zones, and here click create hosted zone. Let us say some name AWS classes dot in. Give some description, choose public hosted zone, and create hosted zone. If your domain is already registered in the AWS Route 53, then automatically the domain and the hosted zone are integrated with each other. But here, let us say I am the owner of this AWS classes.in, right? So what happens? My domain doesn't know that I am managing the hosted zone in Route 53. Then what I have to do is here, I need to copy these NS records. I have to go to the domain registrar, let us say GoDaddy, and I need to update these values over there so that the GoDaddy or the third-party domain registrar knows that I am managing the DNS for my domain at these IP addresses or at those addresses. Like see here, what I have done here is this the cloudlearn.com is registered in GoDaddy. What I have done, these values I updated in GoDaddy. Means the domain which is in the GoDaddy is pointed to this particular hosted zone. That's how my Route 53 setup is already done. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Route 53 part is done. The second step is we need to create the S3 buckets. We need to create the S3 buckets. Let me show you. So we have done this one, Route 53 part. Hosted zone is ready. By default, NS and SOA, two records will be exist. Alias record, we will create it later. What is the alias? Whenever the user tries the cloudlearn.com, they should be connected to this CloudFront name. That is what the alias. I will explain that. Okay, we have done with the bottom part. Now we need to create the buckets, bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3. It depends on the requirement. Okay, now let us create the bucket 1 first. Let us create the bucket 1 first. Okay, wait. This is bucket 2. Okay, backup of the bucket, which is optional anyways. Backup of the bucket is optional because we are going to enable versioning. Okay, so now we need to create bucket 1 and bucket 2. I will ignore the bucket 3. If you want, you can create the bucket 3 and create a replication rule on bucket 1 so that all the data from bucket 1 will be replicated to bucket 3 as a backup. All right, so now let me get into our Amazon, navigate to S3, open the S3 service. I have many buckets. That's okay, no issues. Now, what I'm going to do is click on create bucket. And here, see in which location the bucket is getting created, not in California. But if your requirement is to create the bucket in, let us say Mumbai or Hyderabad or a Northern Virginia, then before creating the bucket, change the region. Let us say I want to create that bucket in Hyderabad or in Mumbai. Let me choose Mumbai. But the procedure is going to be the same. There is no change in the procedure to deploy it. Just the data will be stored in that particular geographical region. So click on create bucket. So bucket name is going to be general purpose. Bucket name, I will say the cloudlearn dash a website. This name must be unique across the globe, across all AWS accounts. And for security reasons, I will not enable ACLs. Why? If I enable ACL, someone might make my objects public, whatever I store in the bucket. I will keep all the data private, means no unauthorized person can access my data from the S3 bucket. And the next one, I will keep this also, block all public access. I will block all public access, which means no object or no file from this S3 bucket will become a public at any cost. Always they are going to be a private. Then most important thing or most recommended setting, enable versioning, so that multiple variants of your object will be maintained in the same bucket. If you modify the file, older version and the newer version will be available so that easily you can access the older versions if required. Then encryption is mandatory, which is going to be the server-side encryption or a data at rest encryption. All the data, whatever the data you store in the S3 bucket will be encrypted. You can choose any encryption mechanism, but I will go with the default one. And yeah, that's it. So now click on create bucket. The bucket got created, right? And let me create another bucket, which is to store the log files, this one. How to create? Same procedure, create bucket, general purpose. I will say the name as the cloudlearn dash logs. ACL disable, block all public access enable, versioning enable, encryption enable. That's it, create bucket. And what I said here on the logs bucket, we must create a replication rule so that all the log files will be moved to Glacier after 30 days, from standard storage to Glacier storage after 30 days, so that the monthly charges will be reduced. How to do that? Let me get into the bucket. This is the bucket, right? The cloudlearn dash logs, in which we are going to store all the log files. So click on that. Then management tab. See lifecycle rules here. Click on create lifecycle rule. Lifecycle rule name. Move all objects into Glacier after 30 days. Just a meaningful name. Choose a rule action. I acknowledge. Select everything. I mean, just two. No need of expire current version. Expire and delete. I don't want to delete any objects for now. I acknowledge. Choose storage class. I will directly choose Glacier Deep Archive after 30 days. Glacier Deep Archive after 30 days. One means if we already enabled versioning, right? Means in your bucket there are old version objects and current version objects. For both the versions of the object, we need to create a lifecycle rule. All the current versions will be moved to 30 days after object creation into Glacier. But what about the old versions, which is known as non-current version of the objects? For that also, we have to create a lifecycle rule. So here I'm creating the rule to move objects after 30 days, but keep the latest version. I mean the latest of the older versions to be maintained in the general storage class, standard storage class, so that quick access is possible. And see, day 0 object uploaded, day 30 object moved to Glacier Deep Archive. For old version objects, day 0 object becomes non-current. Day 30, one newest non-current versions are retained in the standard storage class, but all other non-current versions will be moved to Glacier Deep Archive. Let me click on create rule. Done. Bucket 3, which is optional just to store the backup of your website files. Now the next step is buckets are ready. So we need to upload our web page files into bucket 1, right? Okay, let us upload it. Upload the index.html. I will make that index.html available for you in GitHub repository. Okay, how to upload? So this is the bucket, S3 bucket. Click on upload, add files, index.html, which is just 19 KB in size. Click on upload. And that object will be uploaded as a private object. Nobody can access that. Nobody can access because S3 is just what we call that storage, object-based storage. Now we need to go for this particular CloudFront distribution to make the web page is available to access using HTTPS. Okay, now let me write down what all we have done. In the step 1, what we have done, we registered, I mean, just assume it, registered a domain name, the cloudlearn.com. Then what is the step 2? We created two S3 buckets. What are those? The the cloudlearn dash website, and then the cloudlearn dash logs. These are the two buckets we created. Step 3, uploaded web pages, just one web page, index.html into which bucket? The bucket 1, the cloudlearn dash, right? Okay, now what is the step 4? We need to get the SSL certificate. Get the SSL certificate using ACM. I'm AWS Certificate Manager. Without a SSL certificate, you can't run any website using HTTPS. So what we have done, this S3 bucket is a private, means nobody can access without any authentication and authorization. But that doesn't mean we need to ask every user to enter we can't create like millions of users with a username and password so that they can access. So here in front of the data between the user and your website, there is a CloudFront, which is called as a CloudFront distribution. Now the user will be connected to the CloudFront, and the CloudFront will connect to the S3 bucket. Means this CloudFront require access to the S3 bucket. So for that reason, what we do is we will create something called Origin Access Control, OAC. Step 5, Origin Access Control, which is called as OAC, automatically created, but it's my job to explain. Automatically created by default. What it is, for the CloudFront distribution, there is an origin access, there is an identity. Let us say you have a name, right? That is your identity. So on the bucket, we will create one bucket policy, and we will say, okay, if this identity is trying to access you, just allow it to access the objects. That is what OAC. And that OAC will be automatically created whenever we try to create the CloudFront distribution. We need to create a CloudFront distribution. While creating this CloudFront distribution, the OAC will be automatically created, and on this bucket, a bucket policy will be applied, which means only the CloudFront distribution can access and nobody else can access the data unless they have explicit permissions. And here for the while creating the CloudFront distribution, origin type is a S3 bucket, and we will select like what all protocols we need, what methods to be allowed, and like a logging enabled, custom domain, and all. I will show you. This is the most important thing while we are deploying a website with the help of a CloudFront. And step 5 will be automatically created with the help of step 6. Okay, now type CloudFront, but already have a distribution available which I already disabled. Okay, ignore that, which already I disabled. Now create a distribution. See, whenever you create a CloudFront distribution, you will get a name like this, which means your website to be accessible with the help of this name. But in the real time, nobody like to access their website with these kind of custom names, right? Exactly. That's why the Route 53 is required. Just we can register a domain and we can create an alternate name alias, and whoever trying to access the cloudland.com in the backend, they will be connected to this particular CloudFront domain name. Anyways, click on create a distribution. So while you are practicing, go with the free, okay, but don't select these things, pro, business, premium. $15 per month, right? But you can't cancel before month. You have to pay for the entire month. Zero, you can use this, but there are limited options like you can't enable logs and you can't use DDoS, what we call it, not DDoS. You can't create custom WAF rules. But the most important thing is a logging is not available. Only default logging is available. You can't capture the logs and you can't store it into the S3 bucket. But in the real time, we need to collect the logs. For that reason, I'm going to choose this one, pay as you go. But while you guys are practicing, choose this one and you will not be charged any rupee. Okay, right. Let me choose pay as you go. What it is? Pay only for what you use based on traffic and enabled features. AWS WAF, Route 53, S3, and CloudWatch logs. See, click on next. Distribution name, I will say Cloud Learn. Any name that doesn't matter. And my distribution type is a single website or application. And would you like to allow the users to access this CloudFront distribution with a custom name? Yes. I mean, the website to be accessible with the help of the cloudlearn.com. Enter it and click on check domain. See, or you can ignore here, which is optional, right? Which we have to do manually at the end. I will show you that also how to do that. Click on next. What is the origin type? S3, S3 bucket, right? Means in the S3 bucket, the website content is available. Choose this. Choose the origin S3 bucket. How to do that? Browse S3. This one, select, click on choose. In the website, we uploaded index.html directly, right? So you have to ignore origin path. What if you uploaded the web pages in a folder like code or website? Then you need to enter that particular folder name here, or else ignore it. Settings, this is the most important option. Allow private S3 bucket access to CloudFront, which means automatically on the S3 bucket, automatically on the S3 bucket, a bucket policy will be created which will allow this CloudFront access to the S3 bucket. I will show you. Before getting into that, let me go to the bucket. This is our S3 bucket, right? The CloudLearn dash website. Let me go to permissions tab. Is there any bucket policy? No. Okay, just remember that. So use recommended origin settings, or you can customize it. That doesn't matter. And cache settings, you can choose whatever you need, but you can see whatever is recommended for the origin, automatically that will be selected. See, viewer protocol policy, redirect HTTP to HTTPS, which means if someone is trying to access your website with HTTP protocol, automatically they will be redirected to HTTPS, which is most important, which is most recommended option. Then just you can click on next. WAF, enable or disable, that doesn't matter. But I recommend you disable while you are learning, practicing. But in the real time, we always enable it. We will use monitor mode so that how many requests were blocked by the web application firewall is visible, and protection against layer 7 DDoS attacks. Based on these options, the cost will be varied. See, for 10 million requests per month, I will be charged $35.5 estimated cost. Okay, let me click on next. But you guys don't enable this one. Click on next. But in the real time, we must enable this. See every option here, origin path, everything you can see. But one thing we have to create. What exactly it is? Let us say now create distribution. Now the distribution is getting created in the backend, which might take few minutes of time for sure. Now the user will type some name, right? The website name. But what object will be loaded? From the S3 bucket, your website might have multiple pages: index.html, home.html, contactus.html, support.html, right? But which page to be loaded? That you have to update under default root object. Default root object and alternate domain names. We never ever access the website using this what we call that complex name which doesn't represent my company. So here what we have to do is click on add domain. Now I will type the cloudlearn.com and www.thecloudlearn.com. Next, what it is asking? It is asking you to create an SSL certificate. Let me click here because the SSL certificate to be created in the ACM. ACM. So, oh, sorry, this SSL certificate belongs to a different domain, not the Cloudlearn. Okay, let me click on request. Request a public certificate. Name, make sure to type without any typing errors. The cloudlearn.com. Scroll down, click on request. Successfully requested certificate with ID. Now wait. Earlier, I missed that A, the cloud learn, right? Learn. I missed that. Okay, anyways, now let me copy the name. Let me create record. And the record is going to be here. I need to copy paste and remove the cloudlearn.com because that is already available here. The record type CNAME, value. This is the value. Paste it. TTL 1 second. I mean, every 60 seconds, it will fetch the new data. Quickly, it will update. Create records. Yep, the record got created. Just wait for like 1 minute or so. Once the verification is succeeded, we can request a certificate. It will take 1 minute or so because whatever we created, that will be updated in 1 minute because the TTL is 60 seconds. Let me refresh to check the status of this domain. Still the pending validation. THECLOUDLEARN.com. That's correct, no problem. What is the status? Success. Now click on request certificates. Next. Okay. See, now you can see a certificate, the cloudlearn.com, Amazon issued, status issued. Okay. Now here, let me click on refresh or previous. Yeah, the cloudlearn.com. Yeah. Next. Create a wildcard certificate and click on create certificate. What does that mean? Star.thecloudlearn.com certificate will be created so that if in the future, if you use a dev.thecloudlearn.com or a blog.thecloudlearn.com, everything will work. Create certificate. See, already we validated that we are the owner of the registered domain name. Now everything will be auto provision. Waiting for certificate manager to validate the certificate. Just we have to wait and watch. See, can you see that the cloud and new one is getting created? Just we need to wait until the status is a pending validation and done and done. Choose this one created by CloudFront. You can see, select this one, which is next, add domains. The domains got added as alternate domains, but still there is no default root object. We have to, right? Click on edit. This is the one. I will type index.html because my website name page name is index.html. That in that document the website content got created. Now description, I will say the cloud learn, just some meaningful name for us. Price class, use all edge locations, which means this content will be cached across all the edge locations across the globe. And then click on save changes and done and done. Now what I will do is click on distributions, just refresh. See, the distribution is enabled and that website is accessible using this particular name, using this particular name, which doesn't represent my company's name or a something. It doesn't represent my company's name, right? But what my requirement is to create to create a website and allow the users to access that website using this one, the cloudlearn.com, the cloudlearn.com. This will be created like this. In the Route 53, we need to create an alias record like this. Step 7, create alias record in a Route 53. What happens whenever user types this in the backend, the request will be forwarded to this and the website is accessible. How to do that? So just go to your AWS Route 53, right? Or let me go back. Route 53. Just click on your click the hosted zones. Click on your hosted zone. Create record name. Nothing, so that the cloudlearn.com is live. Record the type alias record. This one. Keep A and alias. Route traffic to CloudFront distribution, right? Select this. The CloudFront distribution is in which region? See this one, the cloudlearn.com. Routing policy, simple routing. Click on create a record. Record got created. In the click on view status. Status is pending, not yet updated. The record is not yet updated. Once the status is in sync, the website is accessible with the help of the cloudlearn.com. The website is accessible with the help of a domain name, the cloudlearn.com. We will check that. So what is the status now? In sync, right? Okay. So now let me open a new tab. I will type the cloudlearn.com. See, this is the website which we deployed using the CloudFront and S3. This is the one. So this is how it looks like. Any website, you can host any website. The process is same, but the website might have a 10 different pages or 20 different pages. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Just you have to follow the process. Now, the monitoring phase. I need to monitor what is happening in the backend and all. For that, we have to use a CloudWatch. Let me go to the CloudWatch because in the real time, if you're into the operations, right, DevOps or a regular site reliability engineer or whatever the role you are in, the monitoring is the most important one. Okay, let me go to the dashboards. So now how we have to see is just go to the CloudWatch. First, I want to create a dashboard I can see in which I can see the information about my CloudFront. Where is the CloudFront we created? I mean, the data is available in Mumbai. So I will go to Mumbai because my S3 and all are in Mumbai. We'll go to Mumbai and here metrics on the left side, all metrics, all metrics, and let me refresh. Okay, CloudFront is a global service actually. So that is only available. I mean, all the global services information is available in Northern Virginia. Just click on Northern Virginia region, go over there. So here, where it is, yeah, all metrics. Just here, can you see CloudFront? Click on that. And what is the distribution name? This is the distribution ID, EVVM2NNJ2SU7. Just remember that and click on per distribution metrics. So it is displaying a lot of things in which it has some other distributions also. Let me filter. Distribution ID contains this one, right? Okay, now what I want to observe is how many requests are coming, how many 5xx errors, 4xx errors, like 403 error, 404 error, or 505 error, right? That information. Okay, then see. So here, what I do is go to graphed metrics, period, I will say like 1 minute, request not average, I will say max, just filters. So how many units here at this point? Just we created just now, right? You can't observe much. So here you can see requests, only two requests. That is what I did. Two times I refreshed. 404 error rate, a 66.66 percentage. Okay, so here you can see all the information, like how many requests are coming, right? And I will keep this and I will update the same after like 1 week or 10 days so that a few other guys also try to access same website and we can see the number of requests and all. But every time I can't search all the things, right? So here we can create a dashboard. We have an option called a dashboards where no need to search every time. Just we can go over there. Let me show you here dashboards, create a dashboard. I will give a name called my website. If I open this, it will display the information about my website every time. No need to go there, search everything. So widget type line, next. Same thing, just go to CloudFront. This is a one-time job. CloudFront per distribution metrics, distribution ID contains this one. Yeah. So I would like to monitor request, this, how much bytes of data got downloaded, total error rate and all, create widget. See, and I will click on save. I'm done. So anytime if I start my day, just directly I go there, right? Then just I will click my website. And if I click like this, not enlarge, I can see every piece of information here. Like I will change this to 1 minute. I can change this to max 1 hour, anything. It will display the info. See here, downloaded bytes, 700 bytes of data got downloaded with the two different requests. Right? And if you want to get some alerts, that is also possible. How, for what thing you would like to get an alert? 4xx errors, just click this, create alarm, set configurations, and everything you can see. So what is the red one? Bytes downloaded. So 5,000 bytes right? 5,329 bytes got downloaded. This is how you can monitor alarms. I will show you one quick thing. Alarms, go to all alarms. Just click on create alarm, select metric. Whenever there is a 404 error or something, I would like to generate an alarm. CloudFront for distribution metrics, distribution ID contains and 4xx or 500 errors. Okay, graphed metrics. So I don't want to wait for 5 minutes. Just 1 minute is okay for me. Whenever maximum this select metric. Okay, now whenever maximum number of errors, any error which starts with 5 in 1 minute is greater than 10, I would like to receive an alarm, an alert. For that, I would like to create a topic. Here, I need to enter the email ID, the cloudlearn@gmail.com. Create topic so that an email will be sent to this particular topic. In this topic, he is the subscriber. This email address will receive that email alert from CloudWatch. Click on next. Alarm name. You can say Cloud Learn website errors. Next, and create alarm. But we are using a service called SNS to trigger the alerts, right? So to that email, there will be a subscription confirmation notification. You have to log into the email and you need to click on confirm subscription. Then only that email will start receiving email alerts. So this is how you can create alerts. You can create dashboard for monitoring and all. What we have done, we hosted this particular website using CloudFront, S3, ACM, AWS Certificate Manager, CloudWatch monitoring tool, web application firewall, right? But where is the web application firewall? We haven't created manually. Automatically that got created. Let me show you. Just navigate to the WAF, WAF, here production packs, like this. Can you see here? Can you see this? Which one was created just now? Which one was created? Because I have given the same name for, so it's like, okay, let me click this. Here you can see rules, you can manage the rules and all. Also, I said logging, right? The logs. How to do that? That is possible on CloudFront, right? Okay, let me go to the CloudFront distribution. Navigate to CloudFront. The logging, we missed the logging part, right? All the logs from the S3 and CloudFront to be stored into the another S3 bucket. How to do that? Click on your distribution and here logging. What is the distribution status enabled, right? That's the real-time access logs. So here, create access log delivery, just so that the logs will be delivered to a different location called different S3 bucket. This one. I want to deliver not to CloudWatch logs. Even you can use that also, but I want to store in Amazon S3. Destination bucket, the cloud learn dash logs, submit. That's it. So automatically the logs will be stored into that particular S3 bucket, which is the cloud learn dash logs. Okay, right. So I will upload the source code and everything, piece of code and everything. So just give me a second. Let me show you. So here, this is the page which we created, which we uploaded, right? The index.html page, which I will upload to the GitHub repository, and just architecture diagram, readme.md, what all we have done. I mean, that is, okay, let me do one thing. I will push the code into the GitHub, and I will give you the GitHub link also, so that it will it will be easy for you. This is my GitHub page, github.com/PONNAM for now, in which in the repositories you can search for a repository called real world DevOps projects. Just I'm uploading, so you will get in a time. Wait a second. Yeah, you can see this AWS 01. Just let me click. So here you can click on the readme.md file, and you can see what exactly we are doing. This is the architecture diagram, step-by-step deployment, S3 bucket creation. Everything is available as a step-by-step until the end, right? You can follow it, or if you have any questions or any doubt, just you can feel free to reach me on my Telegram or my email ID. So here I will update my Telegram ID also. Just you can feel free, or in the YouTube description also you can see the my contact information. You can contact me on my email or at Telegram. Okay, right. So thank you everyone. Just we'll meet with another DevOps production ready deployment soon.